Hello, my name is Manuel Leon and I am a digital marketing strategist. Welcome to this channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm going to tell you how to choose your target market effectively and correctly. But first things first, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I make these videos for you guys, so it's very important for me that you support me by subscribing, liking this video, clicking the notification bell, so make sure you get a notification every time I release a new video. Comment if you have questions, good things to say, bad things to say, I'll take it all. And make sure you share if you think this information was valuable for you, or if you think it's going to be valuable for someone else. Valuable. There you go. So let's talk about choosing your target audience. In this video I'm going to give you 7 tips or 7 steps on how to effectively and correctly choose a target audience. So have you ever had the question by someone of, oh, who's your target audience? And then you think about it for a second and then you're like, well, crickets. I actually don't know, or at least I don't know as much as I thought I did. So look no further, don't worry, I'm going to tell you how to change that. So step number 1, create SMART goals. I already talked about SMART goals before in a separate video. I'll make sure to leave that in the description for this one. But to summarize, a SMART goal is something, or it's a goal obviously, that is specific, SMART, right? Specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, realistic and relevant, and timely. So like I just said, it's a very specific goal that you have to be able to achieve in a certain time frame, that is relevant, and that it can be measured somehow. So if you want to know how to create the SMART goals, make sure to check the other video I did about it. I also give some free resources there on how to craft the SMART goals. But bottom line is that a SMART goal will give you a much wider angle on how to craft your campaign down the road and where do you want to take your campaign to. So if you don't have a purpose, if you don't have an actual goal, it's going to be very hard to even choose the target audience, let alone creating, crafting, and implementing a marketing campaign without a SMART goal. So that's step number 1. Make sure you create SMART goals. Now, step number 2, it's look into your current clients. I'm sure you have hopefully a ton, but if not, at least a couple clients that you love to work for or love to work with, or customers that they love your product so much. Well, if you have a good relationship with them, which most likely you do if they are the type of client that I'm talking about, make sure to call them. Give them a call. Ask them, why did they choose your product or your services in the first place? Why do they stay with you? What they love about you? How's their income, right? How's their business doing? Are they single? Are they married? Where did they go on vacation? So obviously you are going to craft these questions according to your niche and to the information that you want to get. But the more information you're able to get out of them, the better, because then you're going to be able to build a profile of client that you want to attract. So if this is a client that you love to work with now, you want to acquire more of those clients. I'm not saying that like all clients are not important. Every client is important, but I'm sure there are some that you prefer to work with, that they're your favorites. They're the holy grail of clients. So the more information you get to know about them, the better it's going to be when you start crafting your new target audience. Now, the third step is to create a buyer persona. So what is a buyer persona, you might be asking? A buyer persona is a fictional character that you create around all the things that you want to achieve, that you want to sell to. So let's say, for example, that I sell women's shoes, right? So a buyer persona for me will be perhaps, and you can even name this persona. You can even name them. Let's say her name is Emily, because I sell women's shoes. So Emily is 20 years old. She loves to party and hang out with her friends. She's single. She's not dating anyone right now. She obviously doesn't have kids. She works part-time and go to school, so she makes enough money to afford mid-price range shoes or stilettos. She loves very modern, sparkly things. There are certain types of music that she listens to. So all these characteristics you put into this buyer persona, and it's going to help you understand much better the type of customer that you want to attract. And you don't have to have one buyer persona, you can have more than one. You can create different buyer personas for different products within your companies, or different services, or even different buyer personas for the same product or the same service. A good way to start crafting a buyer persona is using a buyer persona sheet or a buyer persona template. I use one that is very effective, it's very simple to use. I will leave it also in the description so you guys can download it and use it if you want to. And let me tell you, I was not a big believer of buyer personas at the beginning, but let me tell you, they work. They do work. They give you so much more understanding of what you want to attract and the type of customers that you want to acquire. So buyer personas are great. So at this point, you have created your SMART goals, you talk to your golden clients and found out a little bit about them, and start creating a profile of what type of clients you want to attract, and you implemented that into crafting your buying persona. Now, the next step is look at what your competitors are doing. Believe me, this is super important. By looking at who they're targeting, you are able to find out who actually responds well or positively to certain types of campaign. What type of customers do not respond positively to those types of campaigns? You might even be able to find a new niche that you want to target and steal those customers from your competitors. So look at their social media channels, look at their marketing or digital marketing campaigns, look at their advertising, look at the interaction of their customers on social media with them and what their customers are saying. Look at their reviews, look at their testimonials. So these will also help you find the perfect tuning to craft your perfect target audience. So far so good. Now the next step, which is step number 5, I believe, yes, step number 5, it's research. Research, it's extremely important. You cannot skip research. Now there are free tools that you can use for research, there are paid tools that you can use for market research as well, but bottom line, you cannot skip it. Now once again, depending on your niche, depending on your product, or depending on your service, you will be able to use some of the quote-unquote free tools. What are free tools? Free tools are statistics, are government census information, their studies, their articles also. So things that give you an overall picture of what your buyer persona in this case, or your target audience, or I will say your buyer persona, because this is kind of like at this point what you have crafted to be the ideal client or the ideal customer that you want. So you start looking for information that applies to this profile of people, but this time the information needs to be less subjective, right? And much more specific and number driven, like how much money they're actually making, what zip codes are they living in, what type of jobs do they have, are they married, or do they have kids, do they have something that is called, if you know, have you ever heard of DINK, which is dual income with no kids? All these pieces of actual data will be really helpful in creating and crafting an ideal target audience that eventually will give birth to the perfect campaign for that audience. Obviously, once you know this, it's going to be so much easier for you to craft a creative campaign around that. And I give you a quick example. A supermarket has a billboard on a low income or lower income zip code, and in the billboard you can see a lady saying something like, I love this supermarket because they have the best prices. I love their savings. They always have a BOGO offer. right? So people in that zip code is interested specifically in the savings on this particular supermarket. But then if you go to, let's call it the rich people zip code, you'll see another billboard, kind of like with the same look, so it's part of the same campaign. But in this second billboard, there is a yoga mom, right, or a soccer mom. It's very young and youthful and carefree lady saying something like, oh, I love this supermarket because here I'm able to find all the organic groceries that I need to stay fit and to keep my figure. So obviously organic food, it's something that is more expensive and it's not necessarily accessible or as easy to access to lower income people. But the supermarket is targeting two audiences with the same campaign but different messages, so they can get the best of both worlds. So it's pretty much the same. Once you have this specific data, like actual numbers, you'll be able to understand your audience. And at this point, you pretty much already crafted your ideal target market. And you'll be able to understand that in a way that is going to be so much easier for you to produce content for them, to produce a message, to produce graphic, and to execute those campaigns specifically for this type of people. Now, the next step is step number 6. After research, you are going to narrow down. So now you have all the information. You have your goal, you have the information that you gather from your golden clients, you got your buyer persona created, which is the ideal client that you want to attract. You have your data, your hardcore data like numbers, income, zip codes, things of that sort. Now you're going to start narrowing down that information, process it, and put it in groups. That's called segmentation. You're going to start a market segmentation, which is what I just explained. You're going to group these people. Okay, these are the people I want to reach out for this particular product, and they have this much money and they work in this type of jobs and they live in this area. So to them, I'm going to tell them this message. Now I also have this second group of people. They make more money, they live in a different area, they will be willing to buy a different product or a different service, and I'm going to hit them with this second message, and so on and so forth. And then you start segmenting, which is grouping your audience, your big universe of people. You start putting in smaller groups so you can craft campaigns and deliver them with specific message crafted to them, so they'll buy from you, whether it's a product or whether it's a service. And the last step, step number 7, is retargeting. So I'm a big believer of, if it's not broken, don't fix it, which means that you are able to retarget the same segment or the same audience over and over again. Now, retargeting doesn't mean grabbing the same campaign and pushing it down their throats over and over and over again through the years. But it means that you're able to understand a segment. Like once you have this little group of people that you completely understand how they work, how they behave, where do they live, their demographics, the psychographics, now you can continuously craft messages to feed to them over and over again. Different messages, but customized to them, and sell to them not only that one product, but more products down the road, or variations or services, whatever it is. It's kind of like the golden position, right? Once you have the universal key, then you can open any door. Especially if you use retargeting tools, like for example, Facebook Pixel, right? Which allows you to retarget people who come by to your Facebook profile, or that they see your website, or that they see your ads, so you can retarget them with different messages. Or if you use Google Analytics, which you should be if you have a website, so you can know who is spending time on your website, what pages are they looking at, how much time they're spending, so on and so forth. So I'm going to also leave some retargeting tools, some psychographics and demographics tools and resources in the description of this video. I hope this was very helpful for you. Now let's recap. Step number 1, create a SMART goal. Step number 2, look into your current clients. Step number 3, create a buyer persona. Step number 4, look into your competition and what they're doing. Step number 5, research. Step number 6, narrow down and segment your audience. And step number 7, retarget if necessary or if needed or if it's ideal, which most likely if you did your job well in the first 6 steps, it's definitely going to be worth it. Now, don't forget, make sure to subscribe to this video, like, comment, share, click the notification bell. I hope this was helpful and see you next time. Bye.